jealous y'all getting like this.
Ramsey Khalid Ismael, known online as Johnny Somali, is a streamer who got sentenced to 6 months with labor in a South Korean prison for chasing clout online. Yes, you heard that right. Johnny Somali went to jail because he did literally anything for views, from desecrating a memorial to trafficked women, and harassing random people on the street to sharing deep fake videos of himself kissing a woman without her consent. Somali spent 3 years building an online presence out of upsetting people, and he ran that business with little to no consequence. In fact, the more he provoked people and constituted a public nuisance for views, the more popular he became. Eventually, Somali did his thing in South Korea, a country where upsetting random people and being a menace in society is actually a crime. And this time, he paid the price.
All right, so we just got out of the Johnny Somali trial, and he was arrested on the spot. The guy's going to prison with labor. He pleaded guilty to 6 of the charges. He fought the 2 remaining, but, you know, since he live streamed himself.
On April 15, 2026, a Seoul court convicted him on 8 charges and handed him 6 months in prison with labor, plus 20 days of detention. They took him into custody before he could leave the building. The wildest part about this case is that nobody caught him. Nobody leaked anything. Nobody dug up a hard drive or some secret chats. Every single thing on that charge sheet was something he filmed himself doing, edited, uploaded, and made money from. He was the cameraman, he was the witness, and he was the archive. And up to a few minutes before he appeared in court, Somali still didn't understand the gravity of the situation.
I think justice will be served. I'm remorseful. I'm sorry for my crimes. And I want to apologize to the people of Korea. And I want to change my life and become a better person.
He genuinely didn't think he was going to jail that day, but he did, and he didn't appear so confident when he heard the sentencing. As news of his arrest spread, everyone started looking into his past, and what they found was a pattern of disturbing behavior disguised as content. The South Korean incident was the final nail on the coffin, but before then, Somali had been a nuisance in Japan and Israel and Thailand and Bali. He had a trail of banned accounts, wrecked stream sessions, and terrified strangers going back years. I'll get to all of it in this video, but first, let's get a clearer picture of what really went down in Seoul and trace the exact moment Somali's actions went from comic to criminal. The memorial Somali desecrated is known as the Statue of Peace. It commemorates what Korea called the comfort women, tens of thousands of women and girls forced into sexual slavery by the Japanese military during the 1910 to 1945 colonial occupation. And I want to be clear that this wasn't ancient history over there. Survivors were still giving public testimony well into the 2000s. There were still weekly demonstrations. Copies of that statue stood outside Japanese diplomatic buildings, and every one of them had triggered a formal complaint from Tokyo. It was, without any exaggeration, one of the most emotionally radioactive objects in the entire country. And in early October 2024, Johnny Somali went to one of them with a phone. He kissed it. He climbed on it and gave it a lap dance while lip syncing, filmed the whole thing, and uploaded the footage on October 9th. And because apparently a video of it wasn't enough, he printed out a photo of himself kissing the statue and walked around Seoul showing the printout to strangers on the street. I want you to dwell on this for a second. Doing it was a bad decision on its own. Hey, filming, it was questionable. But printing it out and hunting for reactions on the pavement, that was way overboard. And Korean citizens did not let it slide. The clip went off across Korean platforms within hours. Every news desk in the country picked it up. And then it went somewhere creator scandals basically never go. The National Assembly during the annual audit of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, where the vice minister said they'd be looking at measures to deal with defacement of the statues. So on November 6th, after overwhelming backlash, he made the apology video.
나는 조마오 죄송합니다.
He stood right next to the statue. He said he didn't know what it meant. He said he was sorry for being disrespectful. He said he had only been trying to entertain an American audience, and he delivered parts of it in Korean, which genuinely took some effort, but no one was buying it, especially considering his track record in other countries. He is not sorry. He has not learned his lesson. If Korea lets him go now, the country will be seen as weak by the rest of the world. He apologized, but I don't believe his apology. He should go to jail, pay a fine, and be banned from entering South Korea. I am fed up with stupid people who blame their ignorance ignorance for their wrongdoings. Needless to say, the outrage was intense. To those who had been following his journey for a while, he was just trying to avoid the consequences of his actions. Another person said, "Dear Koreans, don't fall for his fake apology. He is a serial liar and very good at pretending." Remember, he also apologized to Japan, and then after fleeing Japan, he said he's not sorry. He's only doing this for the show. The only way to stop streamers like Ramsey Khalid Ismael is to face charges and throw him in jail. Show the world that if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. He can apologize all he wants after serving his prison sentence. I'll get into more details about what he did in Japan later in this video, but first, let's look a little closer at the charges he faced in South Korea. While looking at the charge sheet, I realized that there was no mention of the statue. What he did with the statue may have gained him more attention than any other wild stunt he pulled, but not one count was related to it. When the case actually went to trial, the formal charges were related to his actions at the convenience store, the buses and subways, the smelly fish prank, the amusement park, and most importantly, the deepfake videos. The single act that made 50-something million people learn his name was, legally speaking, worth nothing. And honestly, that was worse for him than a charge would have been because it set the temperature. It meant that when a prosecutor picked up a file about some foreigner making a mess in a 7-Eleven, they weren't looking at a routine nuisance complaint. They were looking at that guy, the statue guy. It meant that every discretionary call in his case, travel ban and detention, got made about a defendant the entire country already had an opinion on. A bad opinion, the charges were serious. 4 counts obstruction of business, 2 counts violation of the Minor Crimes Act, and the one that really got him in trouble was 2 counts violation of the Special Act on Sexual Violence Crimes. And I just have to repeat that the charges didn't come from some random place. Every single piece of evidence used to create a case against him was uploaded by him. It was overwhelming, but let me start with the videos that led to the sexual violence charge. Late in 2024, Somali went live and played a video of himself kissing a Korean streamer known online as Bong Bong.
Look, you see? Y'all niggas jealous, y'all niggas getting pussy like this. Look at me, y'all niggas really wish y'all had it like this. This why y'all niggas wanna get me? This why? You Korean incel niggas? This is the reason, cause I got Korean hoes giving me that fucking mushu, nigga. That's what you niggas really mad about.
Except the kiss never happened. None of it happened. It was AI generated, his face and her face stitched together by software, and he served it to his audience like it was real footage of a real relationship. He said she was his girlfriend, and she was the one who encouraged him to come to Korea for streaming.
Look at this. Let me show you my girlfriend. You wanna see my girlfriend? Look at this. I have a Korean girlfriend. I don't know why you guys wanna attack me. Even I have a Korean girlfriend. She's a streamer. Bong Bong IRL, this is my girlfriend. I have a girlfriend, this is my girlfriend. Bong Bong IRL. I have a Korean girlfriend, why are you attacking me? This is my girlfriend. Bong Bong IRL, that's my girlfriend. Look how she drives me around in the car. She's the one who helped me. She told me come to Korea, let's make a content. Look, and a romantic date to get the drinking wine, look at this. I have Korean girlfriend. Look, me and my Korean girlfriend, look.
And here's the thing, his own chat clocked that it was fake instantly. The fingers were wrong. There was a frame where the 2 images overlapped and the whole illusion cracked open. People were typing AI 100% while it was still playing. That is obviously AI. You can literally see the watermark and the movements don't even look natural. Faking something like this about another streamer is seriously messed up. This stopped being funny the second I realized it was a deep fake. You're using AI to make it look like someone consented to something they never did. That's crossing a line. Everyone in chat noticed it was fake almost immediately. Instead of making people laugh, you're just making yourself look worse. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up causing legal problems. That comment aged well because the video indeed led to legal troubles and was used as evidence against him during the case. You see, Johnny Somali didn't know or didn't care that what he was doing was a crime in South Korea. It didn't matter that the video was fake. The court still counted it as kissing without consent. South Korea moved on this faster and harder than almost any other country he had visited, and it wasn't theoretical for them. The country had been hit by a genuine national emergency of deepfake abuse, with women and schoolgirls targeted the most. Materials were traded through group chats, and thousands of people were already victims. The public reaction was furious enough to force legislation through at speed.
Moving on, South Korea is using a team of digital detectives to fight a growing wave of AI-generated sexual content, as deepfake pornography targets more women and girls online. Now, the National Center for Digital Sexual Crime Response, it's working to remove illegal images and videos while providing legal and emotional support to victims.
Korea criminalized producing and distributing non-consensual deepfakes, with penalties running into years of prison. So, what Somali did as a prank to chase cheap clout was actually a crime that was punishable by up to 5 years in prison. It was not a public order law issue, not a nuisance law, but violation of a sex crimes law. Each time Somali or anyone else hit play on that clip, he was distributing fabricated sexual material about a real, named, identifiable woman who never agreed to any of it. And Bong Bong didn't sit quietly either. She said publicly that she'd spoken to police and that the case was moving forward. That matters, because Korea's system gives victims actual leverage. Attorney Lee Don-ho later told the Korea Herald that a tougher sentence would work as a deterrent, and as if that wasn't bad enough, it wasn't the only one. A second deepfake surfaced. This time, Somali shared a video of 2 male streamers, Youngman and Hangyu, kissing without any clothes on.
Look at this. Look how he's betraying you. Look at this. Look at the fat one. You see? This one. I don't know what his name is, this YouTuber. I got beef with him. I feel like JFK.
Prosecutors filed a second count. That second count was the difference between this is going badly and this man is going to prison, because charges like these didn't come with a fine option he could just pay off and forget about. As YouTube Legal Mindset put it,
in his mind, oh, we just have to worry about the female. It's only about females. They only care about females, period. That's not how the law works. The law does not differentiate between male and female. And just because that is a photo, or rather an AI-generated deepfake, of Youngman and Hank, right, doesn't make it any different. It doesn't make it okay.
Initially, Youngman wasn't letting it slide either. He sued Somali, and Somali's attorney tried to settle with him.
Also, I heard that Johnny and Johnny's attorney tried to settle with you for the deepfake. Is that correct?
딥페이크 관련해서 조니 소말리랑 그 측의 이제 변호사 측이 좀 합의를 요청했다고 하는데 혹시 사실인가요?
네, 이메일로 뭐 조니 소말리 뭐 지인이다, 원하는 조건에 맞춰주겠다, 이렇게 이메일이 저한테 왔는데, 그게 변호사인지 아니면 뭐 한국인인지 모르겠는데 하여튼 저한테 이메일이 왔더라고요. 예.
Youngman eventually let it go, as was his right, but the prosecutor refused to remove that video from the evidence stack or cancel the charge. With the overwhelming evidence stacked up against him, Somali pleaded guilty to nearly everything. He pleaded guilty to deliberately disrupting businesses and guilty to harassing people in buses and subways. His lawyer knew that punishment for these crimes was no more than a fine, which is basically a slap on the wrist. But for the deep fake crimes that actually attracted jail time, he pleaded not guilty. His defense argued that there was a distinction between making the videos and showing others what someone else made. His lawyer's line was that he didn't know how to produce that kind of content and hadn't produced it, that he had been drinking and shared something someone else made. They claimed he didn't grasp that putting it on a live stream counted as distributing it. What all this means is that he admitted to sharing it but denied creating it himself. This was a bold argument to run in a country whose entire deepfake crisis was built on distribution. That's the whole point of the law. The harm was never the file sitting on somebody's laptop. The harm happened the moment it hit other people's eyes. And he put it in front of an audience, deliberately, for engagement. There was no escaping that. Prosecutors put their number on the table. 3 years in prison with labor, plus a fine and years on the sex offender registry. It was tough, so Johnny Somali had one card left. His closing statement. The one moment where Korean courts genuinely reward contrition, remorse, taking it on the chin. He turned in his statement, and his mother also pleaded for leniency on his behalf. But a few days after submitting the statement, he made a video condemning Korea and Korean culture.
I think Korea is one of the most stupid countries in the world. I don't even think Korea is a first world country. I honestly think Korea is probably a second world country at best. Because how are you so stupid?
It seemed like he simply didn't know when to stop. Then on April 15th, 2026, the court convicted him on both deepfake counts anyway, which, given the evidence, was sitting on the internet with his own face in the middle of it, was not exactly a shock. The court ordered a 5-year ban on him working at any institution serving children, adolescents, or people with disabilities, and that offender status is expected to follow him back to the United States. The fake videos he played for cheap clout on a random stream became the most expensive 30 seconds of his life. And it wasn't just these charges. In fact, to understand why everyone was mad at him, we need to dial things back to the beginning of his visit in Seoul. Somali landed in South Korea around September 2024 and got to work, being a menace immediately. On September 27th, 27th, he was on the subway playing loud offensive audio, including Kim Jong-un's speeches. He got thrown off a bus for blasting North Korean music. He also played the North Korean national anthem. And everyone knows about how sensitive the relationship between South and North Korea is. And this is the exact reason why Johnny Somali chose to antagonize people like that. That's not a spicy meme. That's a whole national trauma he was using as a soundboard. He mixed in explicit stuff too. Graphic audio, text-to-speech played out loud in public, trains, buses, anywhere there were people who physically couldn't get away from him. Then came October 17th. He went to a convenience store in Mapogu, Western Seoul. He was drinking inside the store. A worker told him to stop. He claimed he wasn't drinking and dropped the cup. Then, when the worker left, he stood up and started dancing very close to the doorway, interrupting patrons.
It is right to say you should never have kids. Your father was right. Your father was right.
As if that wasn't enough, he threw noodle broth on the table and threw the noodles on the floor. When another person, maybe the manager, confronted him about littering, he aimed abusive sexist remarks at her.
What are you talking about? 안 된다고요. 소주 안 된다고. Shut up, bitch. Police? Call the police, stupid ass. Police 불러요, 형님. Stupid ass. I didn't even drink here. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? You stupid ass, bald ass.
She reported him to the police, but nothing really happened afterward, so he confidently continued his antics. The star of his next round was fish.
You feel for the fish? It's dead, nigga. Don't feel for the fish. Not animals.
Last night, couldn't even get an answer.
Last night, I couldn't give you an answer.
Somali carried around a bag of foul-smelling fish and shoved it toward people on the street, approaching pedestrians with the objects and filming them as they flinched away. When police asked him about it, he denied it and got away with it for that moment. That stunt became its own indictment in December 2024. And then there was the Lotte World stunt. Lotte World is a family theme park. It's always full of kids, and Somali acknowledged this.
This for kids? For kids? Let's do this. Oh, there's a bunch of little kids, bro.
하고 있는 특수한 환경과 미국 놈들이 주도하에 군사적 긴장 격화로.
And what he was pushing through his speaker in there was text-to-speech in Korean in front of children, plus racial noises.
Come on, ring him. He's so mad. He's gonna knock me out. 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 Look how slow that's going, guys. No way. Bro, are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me, bro? Why are they even making them wear a helmet, bro? Why are they even wearing a helmet, bro?
Suspend us, Avron Merlin.
His own chat told him what he was playing was sexual. The staff told him to stop. They used Google Translate to make absolutely sure he understood, but he carried on, claimed it was just a ringtone, and when security closed in, he legged it, shouting that he was autistic and bipolar.
What? Okay, I go. Whoa, what? Whoa! What are you doing? Yo, relax, bro. Whoa! Yo, police. You cannot touch me. No, you cannot touch me. My phone, give.
That afternoon produced 2 of his 8 charges. You see, it was never one big dramatic crime. It was a stack of small ones that piled up over time. Observers who actually knew that system said openly that they had never seen anything like it. They said merging even one additional charge into a live case was rare over there. But Johnny Somali got a conveyor belt. And remember how I said he didn't suffer any consequences for his actions until he was finally put behind bars? Well, that's not entirely true. He got beat up multiple times on livestream for provoking people. I mean, when you build a career on making strangers furious in public, one of them will swing at you eventually. He got hit while live streaming. He got jumped in a market. By November 2nd, 2024, Korean outlets were reporting he'd been assaulted for the third time, and Yonhap reported he'd been beaten up on multiple occasions in the country, including once by another live streamer. But one of those encounters went global. Dalgan Yu, a YouTuber and former member of Korea's underwater demolition team, their special forces, knocked Somali out cold in front of the police, then posted the clip himself.
소말리. 어디가?
어디가?
어?
어디가?
어디가?
Not touch my shoes.
어디가?
Don't touch me, nigga.
어?
Huh?
소말리 어디가?
Yes, sir.
어디 가냐고?
You guys following me, crazy. Listen to you.
어디가?
어디가? What you mean? 어디가?
어디가?
What is 어디가? Oh.
You see, Dalgan Yu had been watching Somali's disrespectful stunts and made it his mission to track him and teach him a lesson. Dalgan Yu got treated like a folk hero for hitting Johnny Somali. Everyone felt the guy deserved a medal, and some people just hoped he hadn't hurt his hand on the way through. The comment section was full of people who believed Somali had it coming. I love watching Johnny Somali get beaten up. Would be nice if he ended up brain dead. Why do people go to other countries and act like this? He had it coming. Legally, none of that was fine. Korea does not have a he had it coming clause. Police handed Yu over to the Seoul Eastern District Prosecutor's Office on November 28th, and he caught his own case. He posted afterwards that he'd done what he felt he had to do as a Korean citizen, thanked people for calling him a hero, and mentioned that his DMs were full of strangers trying to send him money. A man got prosecuted for assault, and the public launched a fundraiser to help him. That's how irritated everyone was with Somali's stunts, and Dalgan Yu's actions only inspired others to hunt Somali down. Reports emerged of bounties being offered to anyone who could reveal his location. Korean citizens were reportedly working out where he was staying by analyzing background details in his own videos. At one point, apparently, down to the pattern of a brick wall, someone just posted another sighting. If he's really still walking around that area, it won't be long before someone finds him. This whole situation has gotten completely out of control. People are saying there's a bounty for information on where he is. Whether that's true or not, I keep seeing new location posts every few minutes. He seriously needs to leave before this gets worse. TikTok and X have basically turned into a live tracker for this guy. Every time someone spots him, another clip pops up within minutes. I don't think he realizes how many people are looking for him right now. It was a whole thing until he was finally caught and arrested. Considering how angry people were at him, I believe the arrest may have saved his life. At least the people saw that justice was on the way and didn't feel the need to attack him on the streets anymore. During his trial, Seo Kyung-duk, a professor at Sungshin Women's University, publicly called for a firm ruling, writing that a strong punishment should be imposed to set an example. By November 2025, Justice Minister Young Sung-ho said the government was reviewing measures to block foreign nationals from entering Korea if they'd previously expressed hate toward South Korea from overseas. Somali's actions weren't just affecting him, but affecting other foreign nationals as well. A guy whose channel had about 20,000 subscribers helped trigger a national immigration policy review. He didn't do that with reach. He did it purely with offense. On November 2nd, 2024, Korea made sure he remained to face the music. Seoul Mapo police barred him from leaving while they investigated the convenience store incident. A travel ban went on to hold him in place while the case moved. 9 days later, prosecutors indicted him over the October 17th store incident and confirmed he wasn't going anywhere. And here's the detail almost everyone skips. He wasn't in custody. Prosecutors specifically noted he'd been indicted without detention, free to walk around Seoul, just not free to board a plane. And what did he do with this freedom? He made more and more videos, antagonizing the citizens without a shred of remorse. Eventually, all his platforms started collapsing underneath him at the same time. His YouTube channel was terminated in November 2024, on top of everything else he'd already lost. Rumble and Party, Kick, and Twitch also banned him from streaming. It was finally looking like justice was served. In the months that followed, people started going through his history, trying to find where it all went wrong. And I can't really answer that question without pointing out his problematic streams in other countries he visited before South Korea. The list is long, but I'll talk about Japan. You see, Somali arrived in Japan around May 2023 with a format already refined. Board trains, target people who couldn't easily leave, and provoke them with the most offensive material available, usually references to the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which he turned into a taunting catchphrase.
You know Hiroshima, Nagasaki. You know why you do this? Pearl Harbor. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. You know why we do?
He played offensive music in public, harassed visitors at Tokyo Disney Resort, and was physically assaulted on multiple occasions by locals who recognized him. When confronted by an American resident about his behavior, his only justification was, "I'm a troll."
Okay. Oh, they're scared. Look. Okay, no, I don't show you. Oh man, these hoes is too scared. Japanese hoes, they be showing there's too much filter. I think these hoes is ugly. I'm not gonna be lying to you.
In August 2023, he and an associate trespassed on an Osaka construction site, shouting "Fukushima at workers," an allusion to the 2011 nuclear disaster. They were arrested, but the trespassing charges were later dropped. The stunt that actually stuck came weeks later. On September 12, 2023, he disrupted a Dotonbori Gyudon restaurant by blasting audio from his phone and obstructing staff and customers. He was arrested.
Okay, 가게요.
In court, he claimed the audio played on its own, blaming viewer interaction and even at one point, a supposed virus on his phone. He was arrested a second time and held in custody until his December 2023 court appearance, where he asked for leniency and promised never to film again. People were satisfied that he was finally going to jail. He's about to get some quality time with Yakuza instead of pedestrians. Thank God. Surprised it took them so long to find a law he broke. He went into the 1-month no-charge holding period. He may have destroyed all foreigners that want to live stream in Japan due to law change introductions there. And then Ramsey Ismael Khalid still laughs at all of you thinking it's funny? In January 2024, a Japanese court fined him 200,000 yen, about $1,400, and he was deported. The judge rejected his excuses outright. Public reaction in Japan was outrage, not relief, at how small the fine was, especially given that the relevant offense carried potential penalties of up to 3 years in prison or a much larger fine. I don't care what anyone says, that fine was way too small after all the disruption he caused. People were inconvenienced for days and that's all he had to pay? Honestly, if an ordinary person caused that much of a public nuisance in Japan, the consequences would have been much harsher. The penalty didn't seem to match the scale of what happened. Everyone keeps talking about how lucky he got. The amount he was ordered to pay is nothing compared to the resources that were spent dealing with the whole situation. I can see why so many people are upset. The slap on the wrist he received in Japan only emboldened him to repeat the same actions in South Korea, and we all know how that turned out. He had one script, and it was the same script he acted out in Indonesia, Bali, Thailand, and Israel long before he got to South Korea. In fact, the more he traveled, the more notorious he became because he realized that all publicity, good or bad, led to more views, and more views equaled more money. Somali didn't care that he had very few fans or that most of the people who watched him did it out of spite or in an attempt to track him down. On multiple occasions, he admitted that he was doing all of that for clout and money.
So what do you want to talk about? Swing or not? Like, you're gonna come up to me, bro, why are you being racist to other people in other countries? For money.
For clout. I've said it many times. I don't give a fuck. I have no morals. I'm a fucking sociopath. I don't give a fuck. Put this in your next YouTube documentary. I don't give a fuck.
Our Korean niggas is weak as
Swing on it. Swing on it right now. I was waiting for him to swing on Johnny. I was waiting, bro. I was waiting for him to
We're ready,
do it.
Reddit, Twitter, come.
I wanted to stop when it
Hank is here tonight. We're not scared.
With his YouTube and all his streaming accounts banned, I wonder how much money he is making from behind bars in South Korea. He's expected to be deported after serving his sentence and will be permanently barred from re-entering the country.